Most people think time is like a river that flows swift and sure in one direction. But I have seen the face of time, and I can tell you, they are wrong.
My name is Yanis Mala, and I'm the producer on Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time, as this new franchise being reborn in Ubisoft Entertainment, Ubisoft Montreal. It is the action-adventure genre being reinvented. Working with Jordan was really helpful on that. He's kind of the godfather of that genre. He kind of created himself 14 years ago with Prince of Persia 1 and 2. But in the meantime, it's also a continuum, as you said, from what it was. But here we're talking about Prince of Persia 1 and Prince of Persia 2.
We tried to recapture the spirit of Prince of Persia 1, but in a very free way. That is, we really reinvented the prince and his movements and the rules of the game. So it's not a straight adaptation of Prince of Persia 1. It's a new game. Well, one of the great things about revisiting Prince of Persia is that it's such a rich motherlode of stories and tales. You know, going back and rereading the 1001 Nights, the Shahnameh or Persian Book of Kings, and all kinds of great imaginative tales that have been with us for centuries. It's fun to read on its own, and it's incredibly inspiring to the imagination to try to come up with a new story set in that world. And the whole team. Yanis asked the whole team to read the 1001 Nights at a very early stage in the project, and the artists and everybody had books of Persian illustrations and architecture, medieval costumes, and all of this stuff was just hugely inspirational. And so, in the early months when we were trying to really focus on what the gameplay was going to be, what elements we were going to use. At the same time, we were deciding what the story elements were going to be. And so to develop these two things together, I think is one of the things that's been so rewarding about this project.
It's a continuum because we took the essence of what was Pop 1 and Pop 2, and we kept those three successful factors that we identified, and we built from scratch around those three things. So yes, it's a continuum from what was Pop 1 and Pop 2. So in that sense, Sands of Time is really faithful to the license. But in the meantime, the way all the mechanics in 3D are built, it's kind of reinventing the genre in terms of gameplay, in terms of storytelling, in terms of special effects.
I started the first Prince of Persia game back in 1986 on the Apple II computer. Really, the inspiration for the first Prince of Persia game was the first 10 minutes of Raiders of the Lost Ark. The scene where Indiana Jones is being chased by a boulder, and everything's collapsing around him, and he's running and jumping, and he misses the edge. He grabs on, he pulls himself up. Well, just those 10 minutes of action-adventure movie made me think, wow, if you could do a video game with that kind of excitement. And that's what I was trying to do with the first Prince of Persia, which, of course, was a 2D side-scroller, and not even a scroller. It was a 2D game which didn't scroll. And my focus was really to try to bring the little character to life by having his movements be more human and more lifelike than your average stick figure, so that when the character would run and fall, you really felt that he had weight, and when he landed on the spikes, you really felt that it would hurt. And to make the controller and the player connected in a way that when you felt that you were really up there on the screen doing those things, and when the player missed and grabbed onto the edge, you felt that you just had a narrow escape yourself.
As any team, it's growing all through the project from A to Z. A being the preconception start. And this was actually in July 2001, when Ubisoft actually got the rights for the license. The headquarters decided to give it to its best studio, Montreal studio. So we got the license. I got the title, and started to gather the team. And at that time, for the preconception stuff, we were actually 4 to 5 people. 1 animator, 1 engineer, 1 game designer, and Jordan here and there. But the actual start and the real start for the core team was to bring Jordan, to invite him here in Montreal to show him what we had at that time. It was a very early mock-up, but the essence was there. It was dozens of AVI showing a boom character doing crazy acrobatic stuff very fluidly, very smoothly, all in 3D. And we were the core team watching to Jordan, and when we saw his reaction, he was flabbergasted. We were like, okay, we got something. This is the real start for us. That boosted the team, and then we spent the whole summer trying to figure out what's going to be the technology, what's going to be the art direction, the main gameplay around those things, starting to study Prince of Persia 1 and 2 to get those 3 successful factors I told you about, and to start the pre-production. Talking from the real core, Alex and Richard, who to me were the very first very important duo because they were taking care of the prince. Basically, Alex was the one who was making all his astonishing animations, and Richard was the AI guy who was giving all these animations a life in the engine. Then Claude, the lead engineer, has worked on Donald plus another Disney game that has never been released, and Playmobil Blue also. Who else? That was the real core team. Patrice has worked, the creative director, has worked on Playmobil Blue, Donald. That's pretty much it. David Chadonoff, the lead level designer, he's worked on Donald. He's worked on Blackthorn, the mission pack for Rainbow Six. So there are people, with a minimum 3 to up to 5 years of experience, not including Prince of Persia. The platforms in any project are a producer decision. With such a game, with such an initial design we had in mind, it was clear to me that, plus the strategic objectives we had with the game, like making the license, reborn again, plus giving it to the mass market, it was kind of clear that we had to target on PS2. But in the meantime, we're just talking about main data. Once you have the main data, at a certain point of the project, you can say, okay, here we're going to split, and we're going to have the Xbox team, the PC team, and the Gamecube team from the same main core data, adding whatever needs to be added for those platforms. But the initial platform objective was the PlayStation 2, and everything has been designed in the production process to take the most of the platform. Talking about textures, talking about tools, and all the stuff, special effects. At one point, it's always easier to increase data to get the game made on more powerful platforms than to downgrade. On the Gamecube side, we come up with a very interesting process. Rather than bringing 10, 15 people 3 months before the game ships to make the port and get all the specifics that the platform needs, we come up with one guy only, but from the very beginning. One 3D programmer, extremely talented, who was there to make the Gamecube versions happening right from the start, even from the very first prototype that was running on PS2. First, it's interesting so that he could actually see how all the special effects are made, and he has the time to port them, optimize them, make them specific for the Gamecube. It's kind of cost effective. But as far as the specific content is concerned, we're gonna have on the Gamecube version content that unlocks things on the GBA, because we're gonna be there's going to be a connectivity between the two. Xbox, that deserved a whole team by itself, because I told you that we've designed the production process to be optimized for the PlayStation 2. So, for example, talking about textures, we wanted them to be draw, not pixel by pixel, but on 128 by 128, because this is the format that fit for the PS2. And then the artist could actually take the most of the texture on that format. Then on the Xbox, you have to take them all and to redo them, okay? Rather than making them at the beginning in 512, and then downgrade them for the PS2. It's a good, effective thing, but downgrading, for PS2, So that's the thing. So it deserved the whole team for the Xbox. So first, of course, all the texture will be high-res. We're going to have Dolby 5.1. We're going to have progressive scans report for HDTV. We're going to have Xbox Live content and Xbox Live features. And we're going to have high-res environments plus high-res characters for all the characters.
Yeah, I think we all feel a lot of pressure on this project, and I think we put it on ourselves too, because our hopes were very high from the beginning, and everybody on the team wanted to make this game great. And so that when you're doing that with finite time and finite resources, of course the pressure is always there. But I think we all enjoy it. Otherwise, we wouldn't do it to ourselves.